Have you ever stood in front of the mirror, looked at your hair, and quietly asked yourself, what more do I really want for myself? Not to look younger, not to stand out more, but simply to feel a little fresher, a little freer, a little lighter. I understand that feeling. Because sometimes, just one small change to our hair can lead us down an entirely new path in life. A new summer, a new haircut, and who knows, perhaps a new version of ourselves waiting to step forward. But, for that very reason, I want to share with you something not everyone talks about when it comes to the pixie cut, that seemingly carefree short hairstyle, yet one that holds more complexity beneath its surface than you might realize. If you appreciate gentle yet practical stories about hair, about beauty, and about freedom beyond 50, go ahead and hit like, share this video with the women you love, and don't forget to subscribe so we can continue this journey together. And now, let me tell you about the 5 pixie street aisles making waves this summer and what you should carefully consider before taking the plunge. 1. Pixie. A little messy, a lot of freedom. There are women who, even after turning 60, still carry within them a light-hearted, youthful spirit. Though their hair may have thinned with time, their energy remains vibrant, just like in their younger days. I've always believed that this kind of beauty doesn't fade with age. It's something deeply rooted, something time cannot erase. That's probably why, whenever I listen to older clients share their dreams about hairstyles, I always sense a part of their youth quietly shining through. One woman, in particular, left a lasting impression on me. She wasn't dressed in anything fancy. No jewelry sparkled on her neck or wrist. But her eyes had the sparkle of a young woman still dreaming of distant places. When she sat in my chair, the first thing she talked about wasn't hair, it was aging. She laughed and said, "I know I can't go back to being 30, but I want a haircut that looks like I just rolled out of bed, lazy, yet still beautiful." I knew exactly what she meant. She wanted the Pixie. The Pixie is not a haircut for those who like things neat and tidy. It's a style that speaks of freedom, ease, and a hint of rebellion. A hybrid between the bob and the pixie. It's neither too long nor too short, not exactly soft, not entirely bold either. At first glance, it seems simple, slightly messy, delightfully imperfect, effortlessly chic. But in reality, the pixie takes more skill to pull off than most people realize. The secret lies in its subtle volume around the cheeks. For women with a long, slender face, this added width creates harmony, adding softness and a gentle, youthful fullness. But for someone with a round face or prominent cheekbones, it can accidentally add the illusion of weight. What seems like a carefree cut can be surprisingly unforgiving. That's why precision is everything. A skilled stylist knows how to carefully balance the layers, shaping the crown just right. If the crown is too flat, the face will look wider. If lifted just enough, it gives the illusion of height, allowing a woman to feel lighter, slimmer, and fresher each time she glances at her reflection. But don't mistake the pixie for a perfectionist's haircut. This isn't a style that will sit obediently in place every morning. It thrives in purposeful imperfection, a little tousle, a little chaos, a little playfulness. That's where its beauty lives. And that's why women, who have spent years trying to meet others' expectations, find themselves drawn to it. When you've lived more than half a lifetime, you come to understand, beauty isn't about perfection. It's about freedom in your heart, lightness in your thoughts, and the peace of seeing yourself clearly in the mirror. I told my client, this haircut won't make you younger. It will simply bring you back to a part of yourself you might have forgotten somewhere along the way. She smiled, and I saw in her reflection not someone younger, but someone freer, someone who could finally exhale after years of living for others. The pixie isn't for everyone, but for those who know how to love themselves, it's a haircut that brings beauty from within, beautiful in the most natural way, beautiful like breathing. 2. Soft pixie and curtain bangs, a little softness for yourself. I still remember clearly a woman who visited my salon one quiet autumn afternoon. She didn't say much, just sat silently, running her fingers through her tired, outdated short hair. From time to time, she glanced at herself in the mirror as if searching for something lost within. When I gently asked what change she was looking for, she softly said, "Do you think, if I part my hair in the middle like this, would it make me look softer, more gentle?" Such a simple question. Yet to me, it revealed something deeper, quiet longing to see herself differently. Not stronger, not tougher, but lighter, more serene, a little softer. The way we, as women, often wish to feel when we reach a certain age. Sometimes, all we want is to look in the mirror and feel gently comforted. The answer was clear. Soft pixie with curtain bangs. This style isn't loud or dramatic. It doesn't demand attention. It's like a soft breeze brushing past your face. The delicate, wispy bangs frame the features gently, just enough to soften edges we'd rather not highlight, just enough to bring a sense of softness and femininity. I always tell my clients, this haircut won't make you look 10 years younger, but it's soft enough to make someone pause for a moment when they see you. Gentle enough so that when you look at yourself, you feel lighter, a little kinder with your own reflection. But softness 7 in hair is never simple. Curtain bangs with a center part can easily flatten a look, leaving the face wide, lacking lift. Especially for women over 50, this can unintentionally highlight age if not handled with care. I explained to her, true softness doesn't come from rigid shapes. Sometimes, all it takes is a slight side part, a soft wave across the forehead, a gentle strand along the cheekbone, bring out that tenderness without losing grace. When she returned months later, her bangs curved softly with her cheekbones. She smiled more naturally than before and told me, "You know, I no longer care how others see me. I just know, when I look in the mirror each morning, I want to step outside with this hair. And that's enough." I understood, sometimes, hair isn't just hair. It's how a woman chooses to be gentle with herself after years of carrying too much weight. Sen. Pixie Wolf Cut. I've met countless women who, only after turning 55, finally began living truly for themselves. No longer forcing themselves to conform to society's standards. No longer caring about the watchful eyes of others. They walk into the salon, sit down in my chair, and say with a half-joking, half-serious smile, "Give me a haircut that tells the world I don't follow anyone's rules anymore." I know exactly the style they're after. The Pixie Wolf cut. You might have heard of the Pixie short, chic, neat haircut. Or perhaps you're familiar with the wolf cut, a wild, untamed look full of messy, layered abandon. When these two names combine, they give birth to what's known as the Pixie Wolf cut. Short enough, messy enough, utterly free. But freedom, like everything else in life, never comes without intention. I often caution my older clients. Don't choose the Pixie Wolf cut just because it looks cool, just because you saw someone younger pulling it off beautifully, or because a photo online stirred up a bit of lingering rebellion within you. Know yourself well before you commit to this cut. Because this haircut wasn't born to hide your flaws. It won't slim your face, won't create the illusion of height at the crown, won't soften a square jawline or elongate your neck. On the contrary, it exposes everything real about you, your angles, your forehead, even the energy within you. It doesn't make compromises. The Pixie Wolf cut is for women who understand. I'm choosing this hair not to please anyone but myself. Its length obeys no rules. It might be short at the nape, gradually lengthening at the sides, with bangs that seem casually swept, as if cut on a whim, yet in reality, every detail is meticulously placed. Layers upon layers stack like the emotions a woman carries within. A hint of rebellion, a touch of softness, a trace of defiance, a breath of freedom. And it only grows more beautiful as it grows wilder, bolder with the years. I once gave this cut to a woman in her 60s. She had been a teacher for over 3 decades, bound by modest dresses, perfectly neat hair, and life principles no one ever dared question. On the day of her retirement, she came to me and said, "I want to look in the mirror and know that, from this moment on, I'm living on my own terms. She chose the Pixie wolf cut. A few days later, I received a message from her. It wasn't to thank me, nor to praise the haircut. She simply said, "Every day, someone asks me what kind of haircut this is. Some compliment it, some frown. But I've realized I don't care anymore. I just feel freer, happier, lighter than I've ever been." To me, that's exactly why someone should choose the Pixie wolf cut. Not because it's trendy, not because it makes you look younger, but because it helps you live more honestly, bold enough to let the world see the side of yourself you've kept hidden for far too long. But for this very reason, I always ask my clients before picking up the scissors, are you truly comfortable with people seeing this messy, untamed hair and immediately knowing you are someone who no longer follows any rules? If the answer is yes, then go for it boldly. If not, don't rush. Because freedom is only beautiful when it comes from within you, not from your hair. 860 Gomina Pixie. Some hairstyles don't need flowery words of praise. They don't need to be flashy, nor do they strive to become the center of attention. All it takes is for you to walk into a room, and the haircut speaks for itself. That's exactly what the 60s Gammon Pixie does. If there's a hairstyle that embodies purity and the distilled essence of minimalist beauty, this is it. No complicated layers, no elaborate curls, no attention-seeking colors. Just a neat, tidy shape that gently embraces the face. A short, cropped cut that strips away all the unnecessary, leaving behind only one thing: confidence. I still vividly remember the first time I gave this haircut to a woman in her 60s. She arrived with slow, deliberate steps, but her eyes were unwavering and sure. Unlike others who often asked about trends, what makes them look younger, or what might suit them best, she simply looked at me, smiled softly, and said, "At this point, I don't need anyone to tell me I look young. I just want to look in the mirror and see myself." I knew instantly what she wanted. A haircut not to conceal her age, not to chase trends, and certainly not to please anyone else, but to liberate herself from the tired constraints of old expectations. The 60s Gammon Pixie is precisely that. A short, close-cropped haircut, clean and precise down to the centimeter, leaving no room for whimsy and no unnecessary strands to clutter the silhouette. Its light, natural texture mirrors the very acceptance with which a woman embraces herself. It saves time because every element of beauty has been thoughtfully embedded into each snip of the scissors. Each morning, a simple sweep of the fingers, a touch of styling paste if desired, is enough to step out with quiet confidence in your most authentic self. But I always say, this style isn't for everyone. Not everyone dares to wear such uncompromising simplicity. It doesn't hide the angles of your face. It won't make your features appear slimmer or softer. It exposes everything: your forehead, your hairline, your direct, unguarded gaze. And only when you're confident enough to face yourself without hesitation does this haircut truly suit you. People sometimes ask me, then why do so many older women choose this haircut? The answer is simple: they no longer need to hide. Youth often demands beauty for praise, for validation. But at a certain age, what women seek is freedom. Freedom in their hair, freedom in themselves. They no longer need anyone to tell them they're beautiful or younger. They only need to look in the mirror and feel at peace. I remember when that woman stood up after I finished the final snip. She didn't reach up to touch her hair, didn't tilt her head to admire herself. She simply looked straight into the mirror and smiled. Yes, I've finally come back to myself. Sometimes, beauty isn't about looking younger or standing out. Beauty is when we no longer feel the need to chase anything beyond our own sense of satisfaction. And the Gammon Pixie is the haircut for women who have lived long enough to understand. It's not the length of hair that defines your appearance, but how you choose to live with it. 5. David Bovia Pixie. Some hairstyles are created to be beautiful. Some are designed to follow trends. And then, there are hairstyles born not for anyone else, not for any fleeting fashion, but solely for you. The David Bowie Pixie is one such hairstyle. It's not for those who wish to hide. It wasn't created to blend into the background. It doesn't try to please the masses. This haircut stands as a silent declaration that you know exactly who you are, you need no one's validation, and you're bold enough to let that truth shine, right from the crown of your head. I once met a woman well into her 60s, her features slender, her frame delicate, her gaze always seeming to dwell on thoughts deeper than any conversation could reach. She walked into my salon, carrying a photo of Renee Zellweger at an awards show. In the photo, her sharply cropped pixie cut wasn't just a fashion statement, it was an assertion of identity. The woman placed the photo on the table, looked at me, and asked, "Do you think this haircut would suit me?" I didn't answer immediately, because this wasn't a question of technique, it was a question of spirit. The David Bowie Pixie short, decisive, not a strand wasted isn't just a haircut. It's an attitude. Inspired by David Bowie, a figure who refused to be confined by any mold, this hairstyle carries with it a spirit of rebellion, individuality, and unapologetic self-possession. There are no soft layers to mask the cheekbones. No sweeping fringe to lend a hint of gentleness. No artful waves to soften the ears. This hair is short, sharp, revealing every contour, your gaze, your forehead, even the jawline you might have once believed needed hiding. I told her, if you want this haircut because you saw someone else look beautiful in it, then no, you shouldn't do it. But if you look at this picture and see yourself, then let me cut it. Because the David Bowie Pixie isn't meant to fit trends, it's meant to fit you. With this haircut, there's no room for hesitation. No place for questions like, will people think this suits me? Or, will this make me look too old? The only question that matters is, do I feel like myself? When I made the final cut, she stood up, looked in the mirror, and said just one thing. This is me. I believe, for women over 55, that's one of the most beautiful things they can say. No longer, I look like her, or, I fit this trend. But rather, I choose to live true to myself. David Bowie once said, I don't know where I'm going from here, but I promise it won't be boring. And this haircut feels much the same. It doesn't promise compliments, doesn't promise to make you look younger, more feminine, or more fashionable. But it promises this. You'll never feel ordinary wearing it. Because in the end, beauty isn't about pleasing others. Beauty is walking out the door with your own hair, not the hair others expect of you. And if, by now, you've lived enough to stop living for anyone else, perhaps you're ready for a haircut like this. A haircut that follows no one. Only you. 55, 60, or even 70, has never been a limit for beauty or freedom. But I understand, the more years we walk through, the more careful we become with every decision, even something as seemingly simple as our hair. A short haircut, a single change, can make you glow brighter, or it might surprise you by revealing just how many fresh perspectives you still hold for yourself. If you're considering a new haircut, don't rush to ask others whether it suits you. Instead, ask yourself, do I truly want this? Will I feel more confident, more joyful when I step outside with this hair? Because in the end, beauty isn't about following someone else's path, it's about living true to yourself. If you feel this video has helped you better understand yourself, then join me as we continue to discover the little things that can make life after 50 feel lighter, fresher, and more inspiring every single day.